Good, happy Friday evening. I'm Riley King, and welcome to this Friday evening edition of Good Evening, New Hampshire, where we have a little bit of everything for you in this program. But first, we're going to start with your local news. But first, we're going to start with the COVID-19 update. So let's begin this Friday evening edition of Good Evening, New Hampshire. So sit back, relax, and enjoy some Good Evening, New Hampshire. Hopefully you're having a great Friday evening despite the rain. Let's take a look at those COVID-19 updates. New Hampshire COVID-19 information, what you need to know. Let's take a look at that right now. COVID-19 in New Hampshire. Let's take a look. There are 9,426 number of people in New Hampshire have tested positive for COVID-19. 7,966,634 number of people in the United States have tested positive. 436 number of deaths from COVID-19 in the United States in New Hampshire. 761 number of people have been hospitalized with COVID-19 in New Hampshire, and 217,601 number of deaths with COVID-19 in the United States. Now let's take a look at this map of New Hampshire where current cases of COVID-19 are. Nashua, 110. And let's take a look at this map of New Hampshire where total cases of COVID-19 are. Nashua, 1086. And now let's take a look at these three charts here. Let's start with the first chart here. New cases each day in New Hampshire. In the purple, daily new positive COVID-19 cases. In the orange, new hospitalization. And then the red, deaths. And let's take a look at this chart here. Current cases. In the purple, total current COVID-19 cases. And in the orange, current hospitalization. And let's take a look at this chart here. Total cases. In the purple, total positive COVID-19 cases. In the orange, total hospitalization. Red, deaths. And blue, recovered. And let's take a look at this chart here. Positive PCR test rate and daily PCR tests. And now let's take a look at this chart here. Age group of cases, female and male of cases, and risk information. And let's take a look at this chart here. Infections, hospitalizations, and deaths. And let's take a look at this chart here. Deaths, percent of New Hampshire population, race/ethnicity of cases, and hospitalizations. And a reminder, your common symptoms: fever, lack of smell, cough, difficult breathing, chills, nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea. How it spreads, and prevention tips. And be sure to stay with the Riley King Network for the latest of your COVID-19 information. And we're going to switch gears now. Let's go into local news. In local news, customers of Hudson Restaurant urged to get tested after possible COVID-19 exposure. Health officials say 2 people who knew they should be isolating went to restaurant. An outbreak of COVID-19 might have exposed customers of a Hudson restaurant, New Hampshire health officials said Friday. Fat Chris Food and Drink on Derry Road is shut down, and it appears it has been closed for a week. A message on the door asked people with COVID-19 symptoms not to enter. A week ago, the business posted on Facebook it would not open until all staff members were tested. Officials with New Hampshire Department of Health and Human Services said at least 17 cases of COVID-19 are associated with an outbreak stemming from 2 people who were at the restaurant. Health officials are asking anyone who visited the restaurant from October 2nd through October 9th to get tested because they might have been exposed. State epidemiologist Dr. Benjamin Chan said one person, knowing they were affected, broke isolation and went to the restaurant. Another allegedly broke quarantine to go there, Chan said. Chan said there also might have been singing at the facility, which increased the risk for spread. DHHS is considering issuing legal orders that would require people to stay home, and the state attorney general's office is also investigating potential violations. It's irresponsible behavior that puts other people at risk, and we don't want to tolerate that kind of behavior within our communities, Chan said. News 9 attempted to contact the business but has not heard back. And switching gears now, let's go into national news. New warnings as COVID infections, hospitalizations rise in the U.S. Let's take a listen to that video from ABC News.
The coronavirus crisis that's entering a dangerous new phase this morning, a third surge as the United States reports more than 51,000 new cases a day. This as we are closing in on 8 million total cases. Alex Perez is joining us this morning from Chicago, where Illinois, Alex, is seeing a disturbing new record. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Cecilia. Yeah, we're seeing here the highest one-day total we have seen since the beginning of the pandemic across the country. It's clear a third surge is underway. This morning, some experts warning the latest COVID data is clear and points to a third surge of COVID-19 underway across the country. New cases catapulting 18% just this week. Here in Illinois, 4,015 new coronavirus cases reported Thursday alone, the highest one-day increase since the pandemic began.
If you've been following the numbers here in Chicago, this is not a good week for COVID.
Cases also on the rise in states like Ohio, North Carolina, and Wisconsin, where they have readied a field hospital near Milwaukee for overflow COVID-19 patients, fearing hospitals could soon run out of room. Some regions here dealing with staff shortages and ICUs that are 90% full.
This is becoming life and death for folks in the state of Wisconsin.
And in Seattle, researchers say a nursing home resident is the third known person in the U.S. to have been infected twice with coronavirus. The man is in his 60s and spent 40 days in the hospital in the spring before testing negative multiple times, only to get sick with COVID 5 months later. And as we head towards Thanksgiving and holiday planning, millions of Americans facing tough choices. The Trump administration's testing czar telling ABC News Thursday that families, even those who get tested, should think twice about how they celebrate this year.
You can't rely on testing, because if you're negative one day, you could be positive the next day or the next day. And so you can't rely on that as sort of your card to say it's okay to get together. And I wouldn't risk my family's life, my mother's life on that.
A lot to consider for families as we approach the holidays. There is some encouraging news this morning on the vaccine front. Pfizer says it believes it can have a vaccine ready for approval by the third week of November. TJ?
All right, well, that's good news there. All right, thank you so much.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And switching gears now, let's go into business news. And let's take a look at your U.S. stock market and see how your U.S. stock market closed for this Friday evening. And here's a look at that U.S. stock market for all of you for this Friday evening. Your Dow Jones Industrial Average closed in the green, went up. Your Nasdaq closed in the red, went down. S&P 500 closed in the green, went up. Gold closed in the red, went down. Oil closed in the red, went down. U.S. 10-year closed flat. Euro/USD closed in the green, went up. And VIX closed in the green and went up. Dow closes 100 points higher, snaps 3-day losing streak on strong retail sales data. The Dow Jones Industrial Average rose on Friday for its first daily gain in 4 sessions after the release of strong U.S. consumer data to end a volatile week. And we're going to switch gears now. Let's go into weather. Your weather right now is showers in vicinity, 51 degrees. And let's take a look at the hourly forecast. And here's a check of the hourly forecast for all of you. 7 p.m., light rain, 51 degrees. 8 p.m., light rain, 51 degrees. 9 p.m., light rain, 51 degrees. 10 p.m., rain, 51 degrees. 11 p.m., rain, 51 degrees. And 12 a.m., rain, 50 degrees. And now let's talk about your weather for tonight and tomorrow. Your weather for tonight, rain likely, low 42 degrees, winds northwest at 10 to 20 miles per hour, chance of rain 100%. Rainfall possibly over 1 inch, locally heavy rainfall possible. And tomorrow, rain early, decreasing clouds with sunny skies by afternoon, high 54 degrees, winds northwest at 15 to 25 miles per hour, chance of rain 90%. Rainfall near a quarter of an inch, locally heavy rain possible. And now let's take a look at those current temperatures across New Hampshire right now. And here's a look at those current temperatures across New Hampshire right now. Keene, 49 degrees. Joffrey, 49 degrees. Nashua, 52 degrees. Manchester, 53 degrees. Portsmouth, 54 degrees. Rochester, 53 degrees. Concord, 51 degrees. Laconia, 52 degrees. Lebanon, 50 degrees. Plymouth, 51 degrees. Mount Washington, 36 degrees. Whitefield, 49 degrees. And Berlin, 50 degrees. And here's a check of your next 7-day forecast. Tomorrow, AM rain, PM sun, 64 degrees. Sunday, sunny and breezy, 55 degrees. Monday, a shower in the north, 59 degrees. Tuesday, scattered showers, 63 degrees. Wednesday, showers likely, 64 degrees. Thursday, partly sunny, 66 degrees. And Friday, mostly cloudy, 64 degrees. And that is a look at your weather. And we're going to switch gears now. Let's go into sports. In sports, the Patriots canceled practice Friday. ESPN reports another positive COVID-19 test in organization. Team awaits result of second test. 2 ESPN reports. And switching gears now, let's go into New Hampshire Life segment. In tonight's New Hampshire Life segment, holiday cards for military collection enters final month. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Ray Brewer.
Landerman Garber's car, there is barely any room for her these days, as the car is stuffed with cards, and she's collecting more every day.
I do have 25,000 plus right now in my dining room, with thousands pouring in. Yesterday I picked up 1,000 here.
This year, because of the pandemic, she's had to make some changes to her routine.
Any cards that come in sit, and then they're packed, and then they sit, and then they're mailed, and then they sit. So we are following all safety guidelines.
The cards come from all over the country. There are also drop-off boxes for cards around the state. And in some places, like Franklin Savings Bank, they'll even provide the card for you.
Every single one of the cards that gets to our troops is the one that is most important.
The cards are destined for those serving overseas. And while it may be only a card, Landerman Garber says it can mean the world to those so far away.
It's a taste of home that they are not necessarily getting when they're so far away from home. Right now, during COVID, when you asked about COVID, they're saying it may be the difference between despair and joy. And if that isn't powerful enough to have you sign a card, I don't know what is.
The deadline to get the cards in has been pushed back to November 15th.
The cards range from the very complex, like this homemade pop-up card by a woman from where, to the very simple. But they all carry the same message, that you care. In Hollis, Ray Brewer, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Great story there. And switching gears now on this day in history. take a look at this article that my reporter at the Riley King Network, Jimmy James, found this great article today. Walt Disney Company is founded on October 16, 1923. Walt Disney was founded on this day in history. Very cool. Take a look at the article. I'll let you guys take a read. Very cool. And if you want to see that article, we will share it with you on the Riley King Network Facebook page right after this broadcast. And switching gears now, let's go into entertainment news. And tonight in entertainment news, Bachelorette star Ashley Hebert and JP Rosenbaum split. Let's take a listen to that video from Entertainment Tonight.
Ashley, can you marry me?
Yes. Former Bachelorette Ashley Hebert and her husband JP Rosenbaum have called it quits after nearly 8 years of marriage. The two announced the news on Instagram Wednesday. Ash posted this pic and wrote in part, quote, "It is with a heavy heart that I share with you that after months of separation, JP and I have amicably decided to go our separate ways. We created the most beautiful children and shared memories that will never be forgotten. Our differences have taken a toll on our relationship, and after years of attempting to repair the damage, we've decided that it is in our family's best interest to create new and separate lives for our children." The 35-year-old dentist concluded her post asking fans to respect their privacy, adding that their ultimate focus is creating a stable and healthy life for their children.
JP, will you accept the last and final rose? I love you so much, baby.
JP shared a separate message with fans, writing in part, quote, "Please, please, please know that there is no one to blame, that there's no event that triggered this decision, that no one is the victim, and that we've done absolutely everything we possibly can to try and salvage this marriage."
I know that I've told you that my biggest fear is falling in love with you and having my heart broken again. And I'm still afraid. I don't think about all this. I don't think about now. I think about forever. And it's hard to know.
JP proposed to Ashley on her season finale of The Bachelorette in 2011.
I'm so in love with you. You're the one. You're it.
And they tied the knot in a televised wedding in December 2012.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to announce to you Mr. and Mrs. Rosenbaum.
The pair share 2 children, a 6-year-old son, Ford, and a 3-year-old daughter, Essie. And they even recently appeared on The Bachelor, the greatest seasons ever.
Is there a particular memory that stands out?
You know what? I do remember our first date. I was like, oh, I could actually be into this guy. Like, he was manly and, like, kind of rugged. I was into it. And there was definitely a connection there at that time. Definitely. It's undeniable.
The two opened up about their life in Miami and assured host Chris Harrison they were doing well after JP was diagnosed with a rare autoimmune disorder, Guillain-Barré syndrome, last year.
We're doing good.
Great.
We're holding up.
We're faking it. We're
going crazy with the kids.
homeschooling, and it's weighing on us, but we're holding steady.
Okay, and there you go. And that's going to wrap it up for this edition of Good Evening New Hampshire. Thank you for watching this edition of Good Evening New Hampshire. Have a great rest of your evening. See you back here next time for another edition of Good Evening New Hampshire. Good night and goodbye, everyone.